a member of the corporation at Central Sussex College. And I will be meeting a number of you a good deal in the near future. I've just agreed to take over from Russell Strutt, who's with us. Russell Strutt as the education representative on the Local Enterprise Partnership. And that represents FE and HE. And I'm going to be undertaking that role in very close association with my colleague Sheila LeGray from Chichester College, and Sheila will be playing the role of deputy and designate to me during my 3 years, and then she'll take over after I've served my 3 years. So we will be meeting more extensively in the months to come. Due to talk on this subject, I will attempt to address that. It's a topic that was given to me by the Centre for Work and Learning. There are a number of issues around collaboration, the advantages and disadvantages of collaboration. One point, of course, is always the finance. How much should we put into the whole process of collaborative activity? And we have agreed that we will keep the Centre for Work and Learning going by putting the money in. Though I was disturbed when I came in this morning to see the sign outside for this conference alongside a sign that announced the presence of the National Blood Donor Service. And I just thought, you know, they really want blood this time. In a way, you could say from the wonderful presentations that we've had this morning, that it's fairly obvious what the benefits of collaboration are. But there is an implicit issue that lies behind this, and it is that the process of collaboration exists in a dual relationship with its counterpart of competition. And the issue really is how that dualism is acted out. And inevitably, it's a relationship of tension to some extent. And I think it's particularly unfortunate that the government's introduction of one of the disadvantages of the government's introduction of dynamism, it's the government's term, not mine, dynamism into the HE sector, is the potential for loading that relationship between competition and collaboration on the competitive side. And I think that would be unfortunate, and I think that organisations like the SLN and CWR work hard at drawing together the two sectors and getting us working in close collaboration. So the presentation is really about our experience of collaboration at the University of Chichester, and I don't think there's anything in this that won't be replicated in your own experience. It's just that the precise etymology of the word Chichester is distant settlement in the marshlands to the east. So I'm reasonably happy that many of you will be unfamiliar with some of this. First, a bit about us. There is a sense in which the University of Chichester has been involved in workforce development for a very long time. And there's also a sense in which we're the new kids on the block with, I hope, all the kind of energy and creativity that suggests. We, for a large part of our provision, it's about 30% of our provision, we deliver through 800 employers spread throughout the region. And we link the students that are working with those employers up through a workplace mentoring system with linked tutors, and it's put through the most searching quality assurance system known to humankind. This is our teacher training provision, and the big challenge for us, because we've only had workforce development in the wider sense as part of our strategic plan, our university strategic plan since 2008, the big challenge for us was to get that 150 years experience of teacher education and partnership working and convert that into successfully working with employers throughout the region. So that's what we've focused on. But we've only actually been in workforce development in a wider sense since 2008, and we set up our School of Business, our School of Enterprise Management and Leadership in 2001 with a single business studies program. But of course the timing of all of this means that our development was exactly contemporaneous from 2005 onwards with the Sussex Learning Network. So we've always seen the development of this part of our provision as a collaborative enterprise. It's always been supported by other institutions. We've always been supported by other institutions. We've also been supported by significant funding from HEFGI's Strategic Development Fund and from CEDA to refurbish a Grade 1 listed building on our Bognor Regis campus. Bognor Regis, as you'll be aware, in an area of high deprivation. And that's created a home for what's effectively our business school. This is the Dome. It's a late 18th century building. It was originally designed as a summer palace for George III. Unfortunately, when it was built in 1790, it was exactly the time that George III went mad and lost his interest in the seaside. And his son, the Prince Regent, was interested in the seaside, but he was more interested in Mrs. Fitzherbert. And Mrs. Fitzherbert lived in Brighton. So from then on, Bognor didn't have that certain extra something that the Prince Regent was looking for in a seaside resort. And that is why Brighton is Brighton and Bognor is Bognor. Because the Prince Regent decided to build his beach hut, well, Royal Pavilion, here. And that's the economic developments followed from that. So we've been very fortunate. We've located our business school, our office for research and employer engagement, Rio, in the Dome, and the first floor of the Dome is kitted out as an elaborate business suite that local businesses can use. Everything we do is employer-led. We go out to the businesses and so forth, but we also have the facility. And that's linked with a splendid new learning resources centre. This is all of this has amounted to a £9 million investment, public money, which we've topped up with £4 million of our own. So everything that we're doing is revolving around the fact that this was kick-started by HEFGI and by CEDA. So it's a good example of forward planning from that point of view. We've been on a bit of a journey then over the last 10 years as a university. And I won't bore you with the detail of the journey. But this is I'm not going to say journey's end, but this is a fairly typical report that we've had recently from a company review of the impact of one of our knowledge transfer partnerships. And in a sense, this is where we've been trying to go over the last 10 years. This is the kind of work in terms of regeneration that we're committed to as far as the university strategy is concerned. And you can see this is a consumables company, actually in Hampshire. We work out of Hampshire as much as we do in Sussex, and we located a research assistant graduate student in this particular company, and you can see the impact. The culture change, the concomitant business process improvements have been profound, and the KTP's impact is likely financially to be highly significant, and that research assistant is now working at that firm. So that's where we've taken us. That's where our journey has taken us and continues to take us. Collaboration has always been a really, really significant part of that journey. Collaboration with local authority, economic development departments, West Sussex County Council, Arran District Council, Chichester District Council, and so on. Particularly operating through area partnerships, Coastal West Sussex Partnership, Rural West Sussex Partnership, and so forth. Since 2008, collaboration with employers, but collaboration has always been encouraged by our analysis of the challenges of the area. And I think that the sheer scale of the task in coastal West Sussex and the rural hinterland, with its SMEs, its lack of broadband connectivity, its poor infrastructure and so forth, has made things really, really challenging. And that's encouraged collaboration. An important part of that, sorry, that's just an encouragement to collaboration from a recent report, Skills and Enterprise in Rural West Sussex, that identifies one of the strengths of the area as a wide range of FE and HE provision, and a good deal of synergy between that and the local economy. So really, what we're searching for here is a way of unlocking that and moving that synergy forward. But collaboration with our local partner college, Chichester College, has always been important to us. So I'll just turn very briefly to that. Grew out of fairly traditional arrangements that you'll all be very familiar with. You name it, we've done it: collaborative provision, progression agreements, etc., etc. And many of those are retained. But more recent agreements take this one step further. We're working very, very closely. So we have a memorandum of understanding. There are examples of the alignment of the curriculum, delivery of courses located on both campuses. We've tried with various kinds of courses. One course where the first year was taught by Chichester College staff on the University of Chichester campus, our Bishop Otter campus. The second year, both on the college campus and on our own campus, and so forth. We've gone in for international recruitment and progression very extensively, overseas collaborative provisions. So we had a little trade delegation or a visit to Singapore and South Korea the year before last, and sold quite a lot of courses on that basis. So there are now University of Chichester courses that run at SKU in Seoul in South Korea, tourism management at Jeju, which is kind of the resort capital of Northeast Asia, and all of these are collaborative activities between the two institutions. Very important that this is driven, if you like, from the top. So we have joint senior management meetings. We also get the Board of Governors together every now and then. That makes me a little more nervous, but these have been successful, and we've been able to control the outcomes, which is even better. Most importantly, we've explored the area of shared services. Now, I don't think that's going any further. I know that FE Sussex is pushing forward with its own programme, which I think is a very good thing. But we have tied together the staff development programmes of the two institutions. And what that means is, I mean, it's actually resulted in a huge expansion of take-up as far as staff development is concerned. So our most recent staff survey shows something like 80% of respondents had been involved in staff development over the previous years. the previous year, and everything that we run is open to Chichester College staff. Their provision is open to our staff. And so what we've got there is a mingling, a mixing of staff at all levels. So it's not just senior management to senior management process. We've moved towards a joint business service. This is what we're trying for at the moment. And the notion is that an employer should be, we should be able to move towards a position where an employer could come to Chichester College and access programs and provision that runs right the way through from, I don't know, apprenticeships up to PhD, up to research into marketplace analysis and so forth. So that's, in a sense, the task we've set ourselves. Also as a joint progression framework, carrying on the work of the CWL. Single point offer for business, knowledge transfer, partnerships and so forth. But I have to say our initial vision was wildly optimistic. We sat down and we planned a joint business school. It would have a separate organisation, a separate governance, separate building. It would be badged, it would be, and then we tried to find the money for it, and there wasn't any. So we've scaled it back, but in the process of scaling it back, we've arrived at something which I think is going to be achievable. And the point is this, that the Centre for Work and Learning acted as a pilot through all of that activity, got our feet back on the ground and moved us forward. We were able, through the role of the Centre for Work and Learning, to make a joint appointment, somebody who would tie together the provision of the two institutions, and that operated as an example for us in terms of moving forward. And we have joint curriculum design and delivery. I know that Sandra Coley and Jerry have been just been explaining how that works, but we've developed a number of modules and shorter courses, accredited shorter courses that tie together the skills of the two institutions, and that's a work in progress. But I leave you with the evaluation of the of HEFGI's Transforming Workforce Development Programme, just as a kind of a leading in a moment or two to Peter Seddon's presentation. But going back to that issue of the dualism between competition and collaboration, it's good to see that in the evaluation of the Transforming Workforce Development Programme, one of the lessons that's been drawn out is the importance of collaboration, is the importance of FE colleges, private training providers and universities actually working together to strengthen and extend workforce development. And I hope, as the landscape of higher education changes and that dualism between collaboration and competition moves into a very fluid state, we're actually able to save that which we have constructed in such a challenging way over the last few years.